Well, I think it's just an experience to be empowered and to feel beautiful. And I think everybody needs to feel that at one point in their lives. Women, men, everyone's beautiful. And so all bodies are burlesque bodies, we say. So you just feel differently. And then there's the performance aspect and how you feel. And you can't explain it until you do it. But it's just a very empowering experience. And I've always been kind of a ham, so it's great for me. And it is many different elements, costuming, choreography. Even if you don't know those things, there's a community that you can learn from here in Des Moines, in Iowa, in the Quad Cities. I'm from the Quad Cities, so I hope to perform there soon.
The whole reason and the movements behind burlesque is to have that tease, that reveal. Even something simple like taking your glove off can be slow and sensuous, and there's 75 different ways to take a simple glove off. And we learn that it's in your face, it's in your body movements. I could take just one glove off for 3 minutes and keep you entertained.
Every burlesque act that I've seen has typically had a lot of care and love and emotion and time put into it generally. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the just stripping. That's a beautiful and gorgeous thing too, and a definite art form. Club stripping is hard work and absolutely valid and valued. This is just a different expression. More theatrical.
Burlesque is more than what the movies may present to you. Burlesque is more than a pretty woman in a gown stripping to pasties and a G-string. Burlesque can be a man in a gorilla suit humping a banana pie. It can be a woman dressed as Lady Liberty. It can be a drag artist singing a love song in the style of Jessica Rabbit. There is so many things that burlesque can be because it is an art form. So there's very much a spectrum.
We are just normal, regular, average people. We have our day jobs. We have our family that we have to look after. And to me, the main difference between burlesque and strip clubs is they make a whole lot more money than we do.
I am Leo LaFlash. I am a Des Moines-based burlesque dancer, producer, and instructor. I've been performing since 2012, producing shows since 2013. And I travel throughout the Midwest a few times a year. Haven't really gotten much farther than Minneapolis, St. Louis, Iowa City, Kansas City, Colorado. So Midwest-based, but mostly here in Des Moines, I perform.
My name is Cherry Spitfire. I'm a burlesque dancer, and I've been dancing since 2016. I have a troupe of burlesque dancers called the Naughty Nerds Cabaret, and what we do is called Nerdlesque. So it takes the glamour and beauty of burlesque and has a fun, nerdy spin to it.
If you only pay attention to what the media shows you burlesque is, it is a thin, white female in a sparkly dress, traditionally. That's not what burlesque really is. Anybody can do burlesque. I find that on a burlesque stage, somebody can truly be their self. Somebody can be who they wish they were. Me, for example, my stage character is myself times 1,000, whereas some of my students, their burlesque characters are the exact opposite of who they are in everyday life. So regardless if you're queer, if you're a man that likes to dress as a woman, the burlesque community will embrace that and help you live your dreams on. It goes back with roots in satire, poking fun at things or making things exaggerated.
It was there to make fun of political stances or to give the people of the area a relief from some of the crazy things that were going on.
And that still holds true today. As far as burlesque in the United States, people really credit Lydia Thompson bringing her blonde bombshells over from Britain. As far as Iowa was part of the vaudeville circuit. You may know the Cherry Sisters were the worst vaudeville act, they said, on the circuit. They were from Iowa. We have had burlesque and peep show tents at the Iowa State Fair. My father even remembers trying to get a peek of the women in the tents in the late 60s. My grandmother saw Sally Rand at a club called Sastos. Sally Rand has performed in Iowa City. She's from Missouri. She's best known for her bubble dance and her feather fan dance that she performed at the 1933 Chicago World Fair. But yeah, Sally Rand performed here in Des Moines at a club. And it's my understanding that burlesque after the late 60s was sort of at a lull, with the exception of our strip clubs. So with the Iowa School of Burlesque, that really is when burlesque came to be what it is now. We're still small, but we are mighty and growing every day in Iowa. We have troops in Iowa City, we have troops in Fairfield, we have a troupe that performs in Burlington, in Keokuk. So like I said, small but growing.
So legally, if the establishment serves alcohol, we cannot show our nipples, we cannot show genitalia, and we cannot show your butt crack, basically. And places like the Lumberyard, or even events that I've been a part of that were a private club, a lot of those places are BYOB, so they don't serve alcohol, so they're allowed to go completely nude. And that's kind of the difference you'll see in different strip clubs or even different burlesque performances, what is allowed to happen. And even if it is allowed, some burlesque performers don't want to go down that far, and that's completely okay. Some of us feel, free the nipple. It's silly. Why can we not show our nipples? So anytime we see a venue like that, we're pretty excited to go.
My mother can show you in my baby book where it says that I love to take the clothes off of my Barbie dolls and have them be nude. But as far as burlesque, me coming to be an entertainer in Des Moines, I had attended a show in Des Moines at the Vaudeville Muse in 2011, and I was just obsessed. How do I get involved? How do I volunteer? I want to do this. The producer was in the beginning stages of putting together the Iowa School of Burlesque, which is now non-existent. And so I, along with May the Force, was one of the very first apprentices. And so since 2012, my graduation in June, at the Des Moines Social Club, I've been, stirring up stages across the city.
I got into burlesque because my aunt was into it, and I was going to a few of her shows, and I saw these beautiful, amazing goddesses on stage that were just so confident and comfortable in their skin. And I was coming out of a bad relationship. I had no self-confidence, And so while watching these women, I was just stunned. And I decided that one day I was going to join them. You do get in your exercise. A lot of us take maybe dance classes outside of our initial training or our classes. A lot of us will go together to, there's pole dancing classes in the area, and that helps your confidence, that helps your movement, being able to be flexible and do different styles of movement. There's people that do yoga, things like that to kind of get you more flexible into making these awesome poses. And I know it's not scientifically backed, but I think that confidence boost you get, it makes you destroy the goals that you're just amazing at. You might have something going on at work and say that it's stressful, it's hard, it's getting you down, but you know that weekend you're gonna go take your clothes off and everybody's gonna scream for you, so you got that confidence boost.
I really enjoy all the aspects of it. There's nothing that I would say is necessarily challenging. Sometimes if I have an act idea that I don't know, I have a vision, but I don't know how to enact it, learning the skills to create my vision, I guess you can consider that challenging. I would view it as a positive thing, not challenging in a negative way, but choosing to learn how to make a certain costume piece or learn how to do a certain type of dance move to create the vision that I want. I think that's very fun and interesting. And this is something that we help people with in our class to kind of guide them through the process. And everybody has a slightly different process, but it usually starts with an idea of some sort, either song or a costume piece or a concept. Something that sparks your interest and you think, oh, I want to bring that to the stage. I want to explore that. Often it's a song for me, but not always, maybe a concept. And then you have to start pulling the pieces together. You need to find your music. You need to find your costume pieces. You need to make your costume pieces do what they want to do. For example, I purchased this dress, and then I had to purchase a zipper to put in this dress so that it comes off nicely on stage. So there's a lot of mechanical things that we need to do to make our clothing or our props do the things that we want to do. Can often involve a lot of skills.
So a key part of burlesque is finding ways to make costumes affordable. As you can tell, some of this could have been extremely expensive, but things like this have come from a performer that either is no longer performing or no longer needs it. Items like this would be found maybe at a clearance store. My gloves were something that were given to me from another performer at a discount. It's just something that the burlesque community really strives for, is to make these things affordable.
Taking your clothes off smoothly and in an artistic manner is often far more challenging than people realize. It involves a lot of practice. So once we kind of assemble our pieces, our music, our costume pieces, our concepts, then we practice. And when we're practicing over and over, it's very repetitive. You put your clothes on, you practice. You put your clothes back on, you practice. So often over and over, making sure that you can make it smooth and graceful. Like any art form, if it looks really, really easy, it's really not an accident. It means that the person doing it has practiced a lot and put in the time and skills to do that. So weeks to months easily to create even a fairly simple act. Not a lot of practice, a lot of rehearsal.
Even just, a tassel twirl, twirling your tassels is extremely popular and very known as a thing for burlesque. So Leo LaFlash and May the Force will spend time teaching everyone. How do you do tassel twirls? How do you give contact with the audience to make them feel like they're really in the moment? And burlesque is the art of tease, so a lot of the movements are that.
Very bright. Boom, 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 boom. Excellent job.
Perfect. So today we are here at Cirque Wonderland for a beginning burlesque class. We have experienced performers in class today as a refresher. We also have brand new people in class today. We are just going over basic classic burlesque dance moves, bumps, grinds, shimmies, how to enter the stage, that are really sort of the foundation of how to start choreography for an act.
All right.
right, so we are going to start with our grinds. So we want to try to isolate our hip-ish area, and we are going to take an imaginary paintbrush, okay? And we're going to take that paintbrush and we're going to put it between our butt cheeks so that the paintbrush is touching the floor. And what we want to do with that paintbrush is we want to paint a little tiny circle. Don't do one of these. All we want to move is our hips with our butt cheeks, holding our paintbrush, and we're going to just paint a tiny little circle. Hands can be on your hips, on your bum, they can be behind your head. All of that makes the move just a little bit different. You can point, draw some attention to what's happening here. Okay, now our circle, we want to make it just a little bit bigger. So just a little bit bigger circle. Okay? Now I want you to take your hands and bring them from your hips to your waist, around your bosoms, up your chest, your neck, up your head, and burst. Keep grinding. Okay?
Leo and I are co-teaching classes tonight. We'll start with our apprenticeship, 2 hours. This is our second week of our 8-week apprenticeship for the spring. So we have 6 new students, and we'll start talking to them about their acts that they're going to be creating. They're also going to be working tonight on their biographies and their taglines, paragraphs in the words that they create to tell the world about themselves and who their new persona is.
So let's put all of that together. Bumps, grinds, and shimmies. No fish hands, please. Remember, hips, waist, behind your head, T hands, both. Just none of this, okay? That's not fun and it's not entertaining. All right, so we're gonna do bump, bump, grind, shimmy to the right, shimmy to the left, okay? As soon as our music kicks in. Oh, that's fun. Okay, ready? Okay. Wait, ready? And step, bump, grind the coffee. Step, bump, grind the coffee. Shimmy to the right. Shimmy to the left. And step, bump, grind the coffee. And shimmy. Shimmy. Very good. Yes. Ah.
Burlesque is something that's really just called to me for a long time. It is a fantastic and unique art form, I think, and it's something that has the potential to be anything. I really personally enjoy as an audience member seeing things that are a little weirder than your classic burlesque acts. And I also really love how body positive the art form is, and I think that the fact that it embraces all body types is really drew me to it.
To the beginning burlesque classes that are held once a month here at Cirque Wonderland, we do offer a apprenticeship program where folks that are very serious about becoming a performer and performing on a regular basis, we help them create an act, a stage character, come up with a costume, pick a song. We also go over the business side of burlesque, how to promote yourself, how to book gigs, how much you should be getting paid. Over a span of 8 weeks, and then we end the 8-week education period with a graduation show.
I have been in it for about 2-point-something years, just a little over 2 years. And I am a student of what we call Flash Force University, where it was the 8-week course that Leo speaks of. And so I took one class, which was just a basics of burlesque, fell in love, took the 8-week class, and then decided that this was for me. So I've just been performing ever since.
So I'm Queen Anatomic. I started out, I went through the apprentice program through Iowa School of Burlesque, like Leo and May. They were my older sisters. It'll be 6 years in June. So now I perform, and I've performed all over the place, like Seattle and New Orleans and North Carolina and Scotland, and kind of everywhere. And I do festivals quite a bit. I have 3 coming up in the next 2 months. And then I also teach some classes. My specialty is fan dancing. That's a lot of what I do. And really weird acts. I only have very glam classic acts or very weird acts. It's just how my brain works. Like I have a Pennywise the Clown act that is actually on the festival route right now.
Makeup alone can take an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on what sort of look you're going for. A lot of people get in the mood because this is extremely vulnerable. It's something that we do that no matter if you've been doing it for 10 years, it can still be intimidating to not know how the audience is going to react.
And then the day of the show, you need to make sure you have all your costume pieces packed that you've prepared. Personally, I make sure I drink a lot of water, eat something before the show. We go for long periods of time without eating backstage. While everyone else is eating dinner and enjoying drinks, we are not. So we make sure we prepare our bodies that way.
Sometimes it's changing in the alley. Sometimes it's a bathroom. Sometimes it's your friends standing around you while you're getting changed. But I've also worked with different venues where it's a huge, glorious room and there's mirrors on the whole wall and we have our own little station and chairs and there's even a shower in case we're doing something messy. It varies so incredibly much.
Going on stage can definitely have a lot of physiological effects in your body, endorphins and other chemicals coming through, so you need to make sure you're in the proper headspace. A lot of people employ breathing techniques or meditation or things to keep themselves calm and centered before they go out on stage and do what to many people is kind of a scary thing or somewhat intimidating thing.
To not know what's going to happen. Maybe your shoe will break and you feel like, an idiot and you're in your own head. And so a lot of us, at least for me, I'll listen to, upbeat music or I'll listen to the music I'm performing to, something to kind of get me in the space of I am an awesome person. I'm going to do this. Not everybody does this. This is a huge, incredible deal. And you just kind of have to be your own hype man. You have to build yourself up to be able to show that confidence on stage.
There's a thing in burlesque called imposter syndrome, and really that is applicable to any art form or even your job where you feel for some reason that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve to be there. I would say for me personally, I really struggle with imposter syndrome, especially when I travel. I think, oh my gosh, look at all these fancy people that are so good at what they do. Why did they pick me? And you just have to remind yourself that they picked you to be in that show for a reason. But I know that imposter syndrome is across the board. Even people who perform nightly in New York City still struggle from imposter syndrome. And you just have to reassure yourself that, hey, people are coming to watch you to perform and they're not running away screaming in terror.
I think the best thing to me is the fun. I really enjoy the people that I am with. Our audience members here are amazing. Our dancers are amazing. We're all kind of friends. We are very much a community. We get to be creative together. We help each other. We support each other. I know if I'm having a problem with something, be it personal or professional, I know that I have people that are willing and able to help me and vice versa. So I personally feel like it's just really enriched my life on many levels.
It's something that's very important for the burlesque community is to not work for free. We aren't a charity, we aren't here for exposure, we are making money. And that's one of the main reasons why I like to form the Naughty Nerds Cabaret, because I saw an opportunity for us to make more money than we were getting paid from other people. And when we make that money, it's tips. We receive tips from the audience. We receive the amount of pay from ticket sales. And then we also have merchandise that we sell to help fund the nerds.
Are interested in taking a butt home? We have plenty of butts to choose from. We also like to have some fun and give away things. So we have a couple pairs of pasties, and you can put a drawing in there for it.
Yearly, usually in November, there is an event called BurleyCon, so like a burlesque convention, and it's in Washington. And it's an amazing 3 or 4 days packed with classes, packed with movements. There's things to help you be a better producer, to be a better performer, and you get to just socialize with other performers all over the states. And being that it's in Washington and we're in Iowa, we have to get a flight ticket, and you have to pay for your hotel room as well as your ticket just to get into the event. And like I said, we're just average people. We don't make millions of dollars, unfortunately, so we like to fundraise. And that's something that I personally spoke with my nerds and asked them, is this okay for me to do? I want to make sure, even if this is my group, if I started it, I am there for everyone. It's not a, king vote where I can say what I want to say. So we talked about it, and they all agreed that me going to BurleyCon is something that will help the entire group. I'll learn to be a better troupe leader. I'll learn to be a better producer. And that's something that's going to help us all together for the Naughty Nerds Cabaret. So it's kind of like a business expense.
When I found Burlesque in 2011, I knew that this was going to be my outlet. And I found it at a really important time in my life. My job was miserable. I had no creative way to get my emotion out, and so burlesque was that outlet for me, and to this day it still is.
Being on stage is fun. As well, I enjoy creating moments to connect with the audience and empowerment, and showing that all bodies are beautiful. I love that we put all bodies on stage. I think there's an incredible power of showing the body, and helping people overcome any fears or negative doubt or self-talk they may have. I think that's one of the gifts that we have as burlesque dancers, is we can go on stage with our bodies in whatever shape they are and show them. And hopefully people will see that that's okay, whatever their body looks like. They could also do this if they choose, and even if not on stage, maybe it makes them more comfortable in their own skin when they're walking down the street.
I would say your very first step is start coming to shows. Talk to us. We're real people. We're approachable. And follow us on Facebook. If you reach out on Facebook and find my profile, Cherry Spitfire, I will do whatever I can to help you get into this. It's been such an amazing opportunity for me. I want anyone who's even interested, reach out to us. Reach out on the Naughty Nerds Cabaret page. There's always someone that will take you under their wing and show you the ropes. I started by kittening. So kittening is where you help clean up or help put the props on the stage, things like that. It gives you an opportunity to speak with the performers backstage and ask them about their stories. I can't tell you how many people I've known or met that say, I could never do that. My body isn't good enough. My skills aren't good enough. Burlesque is for everybody. It doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter your size, your age, anything. If you want to do it, we will take you in. We will show you, because it's an amazing community. The Des Moines burlesque scene is incredibly supportive.